Hello there, and welcome to our quiet journey. I'm so glad you have found your way here. Perhaps you've had a long day, or maybe you are simply someone who finds comfort in the deep green stillness of the natural world. Either way, this journey is for you. You have nothing to do now but rest. Let the noise of the world outside begin to soften its sharp edges, blurring into a gentle haze. Allow your breathing to slow, falling into its own quiet rhythm. Let your body grow heavy and your mind grow light, as if you are floating gently on a warm, slow-moving river. Because tonight, we are not just thinking about a forest. We are drifting into the heart of the world's greatest living wonders, the rainforests. These are not merely collections of trees, but living, breathing oceans of green that hold more life, more mystery, and more ancient secrets than we can ever fully imagine. They are the planet's oldest ecosystems, living cathedrals where sunlight filters down like stained glass, and the air itself feels ancient and alive. Some of what you hear tonight may surprise you. Other discoveries may simply float by, like a leaf on a gentle current, carrying you ever closer to a state of deep and peaceful rest. And just before we begin, if these quiet explorations bring you a sense of calm or spark your curiosity, consider gently tapping the like button and subscribing. It helps others who are seeking this same stillness to find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. Now settle in. Take one more slow, deep breath. Let it go. Let's begin. Rainforests cover less than 6% of Earth's surface, yet they are home to more than half of all the world's living species. It's a fact so staggering, it's difficult to hold in the mind. Imagine all the life you've ever seen, every bird, every insect, every flower, every tree, and then imagine that more than half of all the kinds of life on Earth are tucked away in these narrow green belts that circle the planet. It is less a forest and more a living library, an ark afloat on continents where millions of species, many still unnamed and unknown to science, live out their lives. In a single hectare of the Amazon, there can be more tree species than in all of North America. In 1 square mile, there may be thousands of different kinds of insects. This isn't just abundance. It is life layered upon life, a density of being that exists almost nowhere else. It is a quiet reminder that the world is so much richer, so much more crowded with wonder than what we see in our daily lives. In this vast green expanse, the familiar rules of scale seem to dissolve. A single tree can be an ecosystem unto itself, hosting thousands of individual organisms, from the fungi clinging to its roots to the orchids blooming on its highest branches. This is the first and most fundamental truth of the rainforest. It is a world of impossible density, a place where life has filled every conceivable niche, from the highest sunlit leaf to the darkest patch of soil. And in that density, there is a kind of peace, the hum of a system in perfect chaotic balance. The Amazon rainforest is so vast that it creates its own rain. We often picture weather as something that rolls in from distant oceans, a force that happens to a landscape. But the Amazon is not a passive recipient of rain. It is an active creator. Each day, the billions of trees that make up the forest draw water up from the deep soil through their roots. This water travels up through their trunks and is released as vapor from tiny pores in their leaves, a process called transpiration. It is the forest breathing out. This collective exhalation creates a massive, invisible river of moisture that flows in the sky above the canopy. As this warm, wet air rises, it cools and condenses, forming thick clouds that eventually return the water to the forest as rain. This cycle is so powerful that a single water molecule might be recycled many times, falling as rain being drawn up by a tree and released back into the sky, all without ever leaving the Amazon basin. The forest is a self-sustaining system, a closed loop of water and life, a place that not only lives under the weather, but actively makes it. It is a testament to the power of a collective where billions of individual breaths combine to form a sky, and a sky in turn nourishes the breaths that created it. This constant cycling of water also helps to purify the atmosphere, a gentle, planetary scale cleansing that happens silently day after day. A single large rainforest tree can release over 200 gallons of water into the atmosphere in a single day. Think of that for a moment. One tree standing silently among millions acts as a biological fountain, pulling water from the dark earth and lifting it into the sky. It's a quiet, constant work performed by every leaf. Multiplied across the entire Amazon, this amounts to billions of tons of water vapor entering the atmosphere daily, a volume greater than the Amazon River itself discharges into the ocean. This process is the engine behind the forest's self-sustaining rain cycle. These trees are not just pillars of wood, they are living water pumps connecting the soil to the sky. Their silent, tireless work shapes the climate of an entire continent, a testament to the power that life holds when it works in unison with each individual tree, contributing its breath to the whole. And in this process, the forest also cools itself and the surrounding land, acting as a natural air conditioner. The evaporation of water from the leaves absorbs heat, creating a microclimate that is often several degrees cooler than nearby open areas. This cooling breath is another of the forest's quiet gifts to the world. The air in a rainforest is thick with invisible life and messages. When you breathe in the air of a rainforest, it feels different, damp, rich, and earthy. That is because you are inhaling more than just oxygen. The air is a thick soup of microscopic life and chemical signals. Fungal spores drift on the breeze in their billions, carrying the blueprint for new life. Pollen from flowers you may never see floats in clouds, seeking its distant target. But there is something more subtle. Trees release a vast array of airborne chemicals known as volatile organic compounds. These are the molecules that create the smell of the forest, but they are not just perfume. They are a form of communication. When a leaf is chewed by an insect, the tree may release a specific chemical warning into the air. Nearby trees can detect this signal and begin producing defensive toxins in their own leaves to prepare for the attack. The air then is a medium for conversation, a silent network of warnings and signals that allows the forest to act as a single, coordinated organism. When you breathe that air, you are breathing in the language of the forest, a complex dialogue of survival and connection that unfolds in every moment, unseen and unheard by human ears. Rainforests act as the planet's thermostat, cooling the air around them. On a hot day, stepping from an open field into a forest feels like stepping into a naturally air-conditioned room. This cooling effect is real, and it operates on a planetary scale. Rainforests cool the earth in two main ways. First, the dense canopy of leaves acts as a giant sunshade, blocking solar radiation from reaching and heating the ground. Second, through the process of transpiration, the release of water vapor, trees actively cool the air, just as sweat cools your skin. As it evaporates, the water vapor released by trees absorbs heat from the atmosphere, lowering the temperature. This effect is so significant that large-scale deforestation can lead to measurable increases in regional temperatures. These great forests are not just passive green spaces. They are active climate regulators, vast living systems that help balance the Earth's energy and provide a cooling, gentle touch to the surface of our world. Their influence extends far beyond their borders, shaping weather patterns and contributing to a stable global climate, a quiet, tireless service to the planet. A significant portion of our modern medicines originated from rainforest plants. The rainforest is not only a reservoir of biodiversity, it is also a living pharmacy. For thousands of years, indigenous peoples have relied on the forest for their healing, developing a deep knowledge of the medicinal properties of leaves, bark, and roots. In the last century, modern science has begun to catch up. It is estimated that at least a quarter of all Western pharmaceuticals are derived from rainforest ingredients. Chemicals from the rosy periwinkle have been used to create powerful cancer treatments. Quinine from the bark of the cinchona tree was the first effective treatment for malaria. Even the compound that led to the development of aspirin has its origins in the willow tree. And yet scientists believe we have tested only a tiny fraction of rainforest plants for their medicinal potential. Hidden within the canopy or deep in the undergrowth could be cures for diseases we have yet to conquer. The forest quietly holds these secrets, a vast, untapped repository of healing, waiting to be discovered with respect and care. Each plant is a chemical library, its compounds honed by millions of years of evolution to defend, attract, and survive a library whose pages we have only just begun to turn. The rainforest is structured in layers, each one a unique world. A rainforest is not a single environment, but a stack of several distinct ecosystems, each with its own climate, light, and inhabitants. At the very top is the emergent layer, where the tallest giant trees break through the canopy, standing alone in the full force of the sun and wind. Below this is the canopy, a dense, interlocking ceiling of leaves and branches that acts as the forest's main engine, capturing the majority of sunlight. This is where most rainforest animals, from monkeys to toucans, live. Further down, in the dim, filtered light, is the understory. Here, younger trees and shrubs wait patiently for a gap to open in the canopy above. It is a hushed, still world, humid and warm. Finally, there is the forest floor, a place of deep shadow where less than 2% of sunlight ever reaches. It is a world of decay and renewal, where fungi and insects break down fallen leaves and return nutrients to the soil. To journey from the top to the bottom is to travel through different worlds, each one seamlessly connected yet utterly distinct. It is like descending through the levels of a great green cathedral, from the sunlit spires to the cool, dark crypts below. Rainforest soil is surprisingly thin and nutrient-poor. Looking at the lush, explosive growth of a rainforest, you might assume the soil beneath must be incredibly rich and deep. But the opposite is true. Most tropical rainforest soil is thin acidic and surprisingly low in nutrients. The secret to the forest's vitality lies not in the soil, but in the rapid and efficient cycle of life and death that happens above it. When a leaf, a branch, or an animal dies, it is almost instantly broken down by a vast army of fungi, termites, and other decomposers. The nutrients are immediately reabsorbed by the roots of nearby plants, never getting a chance to linger in the soil. Life feeds directly on death. This cycle is so fast that the entire nutrient stock of the forest is held within the living plants themselves, not the earth. It is a system of breathtaking efficiency, but it is also incredibly fragile. Once the trees are cleared, the thin soil is quickly washed away by heavy rains, leaving behind barren, infertile ground where the forest may never be able to return. The forest, in a sense, is built on a foundation of its own past, a closed loop where nothing is wasted and everything is perpetually renewed. The sound of a healthy rainforest is never silent. Close your eyes and imagine the sound. It is not quiet. It is a constant, layered symphony of life. During the day, the air is filled with the calls of birds, the melodic whistle of an oriole, the guttural cry of a macaw. Insects provide a continuous, high-pitched hum, a background drone that rises and falls with the heat of the day. The rustle of leaves might signal a monkey moving through the canopy or an agouti scurrying on the floor. At night, the orchestra changes. The birds fall silent, and the frogs and insects take over their calls, creating a pulsing, rhythmic chorus that can be almost deafening. This constant soundscape is what scientists call biophony, the collective voice of a living ecosystem. A truly silent rainforest is often a sign that something is wrong. The sound is the heartbeat of the forest, a measure of its vitality, a song that has been playing without pause for millions of years. It's a music made not of instruments, but of survival, communication, and the sheer unceasing energy of life itself. And now, with these first few thoughts, allow your mind to drift. You have wandered into a world that breathes its own rain, a world where more than half of all life finds a home, a world built on a delicate dance of shadow and light. But this is just the beginning of our journey. High above the dim forest floor lies another world entirely, a city in the sky where most of the forest's life unfolds. It is a world of sunlight, swaying branches and creatures that may never touch the ground. A world we will drift into next. And so, our journey continues, lifting us from the damp, shadowed earth and rising gently upward through the still air of the understory, climbing higher and higher until we break through into the sunlight. Here, 100 feet above the ground, lies the rainforest canopy. This is not just the roof of the forest. It is its heart, its engine, and its most vibrant, bustling city. A world built not of stone and steel, but of leaves, branches, and vines, all woven together into a vast, living ceiling that stretches for miles in every direction. The canopy is where the great work of the forest is done. It is here that the leaves spread like countless solar panels, capture the energy of the sun, and convert it into life. The air here is different from the world below, warmer, drier, and alive with the hum of insects and the calls of birds. It is a world of constant movement where the wind whispers through the leaves and the branches sway like the rigging of great ships on a green ocean. For many of the creatures who live here, this aerial world is the only one they will ever know. Let your mind drift into this city in the sky, a place of breathtaking beauty and dizzying height. The canopy is so thick that it can take a falling raindrop 10 minutes to reach the ground. Imagine a single drop of rain breaking free from a cloud high above the Amazon. It begins its descent, but its journey is far from simple. Instead of falling straight to the earth, it lands on a leaf, then another and another. It trickles down. A branch pools in the cup of a flower and is absorbed by a patch of moss before dripping once more. The canopy acts as a great living sponge, intercepting as much as 80% of the rainfall that falls upon it. This slows the water's journey, preventing erosion on the forest floor and allowing the trees to absorb moisture directly through their leaves and aerial roots. For the creatures living in the canopy, this intercepted rain creates a world of its own, with miniature ponds forming in the hollows of branches and waterfalls cascading down tree trunks after a storm. The rain doesn't just fall through the forest, it becomes a part of it. Its journey slowed and transformed by the endless layers of green. High in the canopy, gardens grow in the air. The branches of the great rainforest trees are not bare. They are draped and decorated with other plants known as epiphytes. These are not parasites. They do not steal nutrients from their host trees. Instead, they simply use the branches as a place to stand a perch high in the sky where they can reach the sunlight. Orchids, bromeliads, ferns, and mosses all thrive as epiphytes, their roots dangling in the humid air, sipping moisture from the mist and rain. A single large tree can be a vertical garden, hosting hundreds of different epiphyte species, each one a small world. The leaves of some bromeliads grow in a tight rosette, forming a cup that collects rainwater and fallen leaves. These tiny suspended pools become miniature ecosystems, providing a home for tree frogs, salamanders, and the larvae of insects. They are worlds within worlds, gardens floating in the sky. A testament to life's ability to find a foothold in the most unlikely of places. Some animals live their entire lives in the canopy, never touching the ground. For many species, the canopy is not just a part of the forest. It is the entire universe. Sloths, with their slow, deliberate movements, spend their lives hanging upside down from branches, their fur a miniature ecosystem of its own, hosting algae that helps camouflage them. Spider monkeys, with their long prehensile tails acting as a fifth limb swing through the treetops with breathtaking agility, rarely descending. Countless species of birds, from the brilliant macaw to the tiny hummingbird nest, feed and raise their young in this aerial world. Even some snakes and frogs are canopy dwellers, their bodies adapted for climbing and gliding between trees. For these creatures, the ground is a distant alien landscape. Their lives are a vertical dance, a continuous journey from branch to branch, their survival completely dependent on this city in the leaves. They are the true citizens of the sky, born in the treetops, and living their entire existence in the warm embrace of the sunlit canopy. Over time, a layer of soil can form in the branches of canopy trees. The canopy is so rich with life that it begins to build its own foundation high above the earth. As leaves, flowers, and twigs fall from the upper branches, they get caught in the tangle of epiphytes and vines below. Over years, this organic matter decomposes, mixing with dust and animal droppings, and slowly forms a rich dark layer of what scientists call canopy soil. This suspended earth can be several inches thick, creating a mat of fertile ground that supports the aerial gardens of epiphytes and provides a foraging ground for insects and other small creatures. In a sense, the forest floor is replicated in the sky. This soil-making process reveals the incredible efficiency of the rainforest, where waste from one layer becomes the foundation for life in another. It's a quiet, patient process, the slow accumulation of life's debris building new ground 100 feet in the air. The emergent layer consists of giant trees that tower above the rest of the canopy, while the canopy forms a dense continuous ceiling. A few colossal trees push their way even higher, breaking through into the open sky. These are the giants of the emergent layer. They can stand over 200 feet tall. Their crowns like lonely islands in a sea of green. Life in the emergent layer is different. These trees face the full force of the sun, the wind, and the rain. Their leaves are often smaller and tougher to withstand the harsh conditions. They are home to eagles, butterflies, and other creatures that thrive in the bright open air. From their great height, they cast long shadows over the forest below their presence, shaping the landscape for miles. To be one of these emergent trees is to live a life of both splendor and solitude, connected to the forest below, but also standing apart from it, a silent sentinel, watching over the endless green expanse. Flowering and fruiting in the canopy can be a synchronized explosive event. In some rainforests, the cycle of life is not a slow, steady process, but one of dramatic synchronized bursts. An event known as masting occurs when thousands of trees of the same species all flower and produce fruit at the exact same time. For years, the forest might seem quiet, and then suddenly, over a period of just a few weeks, the canopy will explode in a riot of color and scent. This mass fruiting is a strategy to overwhelm seed predators, animals like monkeys and rodents. There is so much fruit available at once that the animals can't possibly eat it all, ensuring that many seeds survive to sprout. For the animals, it is a time of incredible feasting. The forest floor becomes littered with fallen fruit, and the air is thick with the buzz of insects and the calls of birds. These masting events are still not fully understood, but they appear to be triggered by environmental cues, like a slight dip in temperature. It is the forest acting as one, a coordinated, explosive celebration of renewal. Vines or lianas act as the highways of the canopy, weaving their way from the dark forest floor up to the sunlit treetops are woody vines known as lianas. These are not small, delicate climbers. They can be as thick as a person's arm and hundreds of feet long. Lianas do not stand on their own, but use the great trees as support, climbing their way toward the light. Once in the canopy, they spread from tree to tree, their long looping stems forming a network of bridges and walkways. For many animals, these lianas are essential highways. Monkeys, sloths, and countless insects use them to travel between trees without having to descend to the dangerous forest floor. They bind the canopy together, creating a complex three-dimensional world. But their embrace can also be a burden. A heavy growth of lianas can weigh down a tree, making it more likely to fall in a storm. They are both the connectors and the constrictors of the forest, a beautiful and sometimes deadly web that holds the city and the sky together. The temperature and humidity in the canopy can be dramatically different from the forest floor. To travel from the ground to the canopy is to travel between climates. The forest floor is cool, damp, and still sheltered from the sun and wind. The canopy, however, is a world of extremes. During the day, it is bathed in direct sunlight, and temperatures can be much higher than below. The air is also drier and more exposed to the wind. This difference in microclimate means that the plants and animals living in each layer are highly specialized. A creature adapted to the cool, moist shadows of the floor could not survive in the bright, warm world of the canopy, and vice versa. This vertical layering of climates is one of the reasons rainforests can support such an incredible diversity of life. The forest is not one home, but many stacked one on top of the other, each with its own unique conditions and its own unique community of residents. But this world of light and air, this bustling city in the sky, is only one part of the story. It rests upon another kingdom, a world of filtered green light, of silence, and of patient waiting. Below the canopy lies the understory, a hushed and mysterious realm that we will drift into next. Let your thoughts soften as we descend from the bright sky, leaving the wind and sun behind, and enter the gentle, quiet twilight of the world beneath the leaves. We now leave the bright, windswept world of the canopy and descend into the layer below. Here, in the understory, the forest grows quiet. The air becomes still heavy with the scent of damp earth and blooming flowers. This is a world of soft green twilight. The dense canopy above acts as a living filter, absorbing most of the sunlight and allowing only scattered, dappled rays to reach this middle realm. The understory is a place of patience. It is populated by smaller trees, shrubs, and young saplings, many of which may wait for decades, even centuries, for a gap to open in the canopy. A moment when a falling giant will grant them a brief window of sunlight to surge upward. Life here moves at a different pace. It is a world of shadows and silhouettes, where survival depends not on reaching for the sun, but on thriving in its absence. Let your mind settle into this calm green space, a world bathed in a gentle, eternal dusk. Plants in the understory have evolved enormous leaves to capture what little light they can. In the deep shade of the understory, sunlight is the most precious currency. With only a tiny fraction of the sun's energy reaching this level, plants have adapted in ingenious ways. Many understory shrubs and saplings have developed leaves that are exceptionally large and thin. These broad surfaces act like natural solar panels, maximizing their ability to catch every last photon of light that trickles down from above. Some leaves are so large they can be several feet long, forming a mosaic of green that carpets the middle layer of the forest. The color of these leaves is often a deeper, darker green than those in the canopy, a sign that they are packed with extra chlorophyll to make the most of the dim conditions. To see them is to witness a quiet, desperate elegance, a design born of scarcity, where every surface is shaped by the silent, constant hunger for light. Some flowers in the understory bloom directly from the tree trunks. In the struggle to be seen by pollinators in the dim understory, some plants have evolved a curious strategy called cauliflory. Instead of producing flowers high up on their branches, they bloom directly from their main trunks, or thickest limbs. This makes the flowers more visible and accessible to the creatures that live on or near the forest floor, such as insects, bats, and small mammals. The cacao tree, which gives us chocolate, is a famous example. Its small, delicate flowers sprout in clusters right on the bark, later developing into large pods. In a world where every ray of light and every pollinator is precious, cauliflory is a clever solution. It turns the entire tree trunk into a stage for reproduction, a vertical garden of blossoms that ensures the plant's legacy can continue even in the heart of the forest's shadow. Many understory plants have iridescent leaves that shimmer with blue light. If you look closely at the leaves on the forest floor, you may notice some that seem to glow with an electric iridescent blue. This is not a pigment, but a structural trick of the light. These plants, often called peacock begonias or ferns, have evolved a unique cellular structure in their leaves that manipulates light. Tiny layered structures within the leaf cells act like crystals, bending and reflecting the faint green light of the understory in a way that makes it appear blue. Scientists believe this may be a highly efficient way to capture the specific wavelengths of light that are most common in deep shade. To the human eye, it is simply beautiful, a flash of impossible color in the green dimness. It is the forest playing with physics, turning its darkest corners into a display of shimmering living jewels. The air in the understory is almost completely still. While the canopy above may be rustling in the wind, the understory often remains in a state of profound stillness. The dense layers of leaves act as a powerful windbreak, calming the air to a near-perfect calm. This lack of air movement has a profound effect on the environment. Humidity remains high as moisture released by the leaves has nowhere to go. Scents from a decaying fruit or a night-blooming flower hang heavy in the air, traveling slowly and creating an olfactory map for the creatures that live here. For plants, this stillness presents a challenge. Without wind to carry their pollen, many have evolved to rely on animals for pollination. For the listener, the stillness is a form of peace. It is a quiet that feels ancient and deep, a silence broken only by the drip of water from a leaf or the distant call of a bird sounds that seem to hang in the air, suspended in the forest's motionless breath. Jaguars, the ghosts of the understory, are masters of stealth. The jaguar, the largest cat in the Americas, is the apex predator of the rainforest understory. Its beautiful spotted coat, called a rosette pattern, is not for show. It is a masterpiece of camouflage. In the dappled, shifting light that filters through the canopy, the jaguar's coat makes it almost invisible. It can stand motionless, just feet away, and you would never know it is there. Jaguars are solitary and elusive, moving with a silent, deliberate grace. They are powerful swimmers, comfortable in the rivers that wind through the forest, and are known to hunt everything from capybaras to caimans. To the indigenous peoples of the Amazon, the jaguar is a creature of immense spiritual power, a symbol of strength, silence, and the untamed spirit of the forest. To know that such a creature is moving through the shadows is to feel the deep, quiet pulse of the wild, a presence that is both beautiful and terrifying, the silent king of the green twilight. Many understory creatures use camouflage to disappear completely. In the understory, the line between seeing and being seen is the line between life and death. As a result, many of its inhabitants have evolved forms of camouflage that are almost miraculous. The stick insect, as its name suggests, looks so much like a twig that it can be right in front of your eyes and remain unseen. Leaf mimic katydids have wings that perfectly replicate the shape, color, and even the imperfections of a dead leaf, complete with faux bite marks and mold spots. Glass frogs have translucent skin on their undersides, which makes their internal organs visible, but helps them blend into the green leaves they rest on. These are not just clever disguises. They are feats of evolutionary art. Each creature is a sculpture shaped by the need to vanish, to become one with the background, to exist as a whisper in a world of shadows. The light that reaches the understory has a different color. Sunlight is a mixture of all the colors of the rainbow. When it passes through the dense canopy, the leaves absorb most of the red and blue light for photosynthesis. What filters down to the understory is primarily green and far red light. This gives the understory its characteristic deep green, almost ethereal glow. The world here is literally seen through a green filter. Plants and animals adapted to this environment are tuned to this specific quality of light. Some plants have pigments that are better at absorbing green light. The eyes of some nocturnal animals are more sensitive to the longer wavelengths that dominate at dusk. This subtle shift in the color spectrum is a quiet reminder that the understory is not just darker. It is a different world of light, a place where the sun's energy arrives, transformed, softened, and colored by its long journey through the leaves. Young trees can wait in the understory for centuries for a chance to grow. The understory is a nursery filled with a quiet, incredible patience. Saplings of giant canopy trees can remain small, almost dormant, in the deep shade for a very long time. They grow incredibly slowly, sometimes only an inch or two a year, conserving their energy and waiting. They are biding their time until a giant tree in the canopy above falls, whether from old age or a storm. When that happens, a sudden column of bright, direct sunlight hits the forest floor. This light gap is the signal the young trees have been waiting for. A frantic race to the sky begins. The saplings that have been waiting patiently for years, even centuries, suddenly surge upward, competing to fill the space and become the next giant of the canopy. The understory, then, is a place of future potential, a forest in waiting, a quiet testament to the power of endurance. But the understory, for all its hushed beauty, is not the final layer of our journey. Below it lies a world even darker, a world built on endings and new beginnings. This is the forest floor where life returns to the earth, and the great cycle of renewal is completed. Let your mind drift downward now, past the giant leaves and the still air, and settle softly onto the dark, rich ground of the forest's foundation. We now arrive at the foundation of the rainforest, the forest floor. Here, the world is at its darkest and its most quiet. Less than 2% of the sun's light ever reaches this realm, and the air is still and heavy with the rich scent of decay. This is not a barren place, but a world teeming with a different kind of life. A life dedicated to the sacred and silent work of transformation. The forest floor is where everything that has lived in the layers above eventually comes to rest. Fallen leaves, toppled trees, and the remains of creatures great and small form a thin layer on the ground known as the litter. This is where the forest recycles itself. It is a world of fungi, insects, and microorganisms, an army of decomposers who work tirelessly to break down the dead and return their nutrients to the living. It is a place of endings, yes, but more importantly, it is a place of beginnings. Allow your thoughts to settle here in the cool, dark cradle of the forest where the cycle of life comes full circle. The forest floor is a world ruled by fungi. In the dim light of the forest floor, fungi are the undisputed kings. They are not plants, and they are not animals, but a kingdom of their own. Their visible forms, the mushrooms that sprout from a fallen log, or the delicate mold that covers a leaf, are just the fruiting bodies of a much larger organism. The true body of the fungus is the mycelium, a vast, intricate network of thread-like filaments that weaves through the soil and decaying wood. This network is the forest's digestive system. Fungi are among the only organisms on Earth that can break down lignin, the tough, woody material that gives trees their structure. Without fungi, the forest would slowly be buried under an ever-growing pile of its own dead wood. Instead, these silent architects dissolve the past, unlocking the nutrients stored within and making them available for the next generation of trees to absorb through their roots. They are the bridge between death and life, the quiet essential force that keeps the entire ecosystem turning. A single teaspoon of rainforest soil contains billions of microorganisms. Scoop up a handful of earth from the forest floor, and you are holding a universe. In just a single teaspoon, there are more living microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and others than there are people on the entire planet. This invisible community is the true engine of the forest's fertility. They work in concert to decompose organic matter, fix nitrogen from the air, and protect plant roots from disease. Each species has a role, from the bacteria that break down simple sugars to the fungi that tackle tough wood. This underground world is a bustling, complex society, a web of cooperation and competition that we are only just beginning to understand. The towering trees and vibrant life of the rainforest are all built upon this foundation of the unseen, the microscopic, the countless. It is a humbling reminder that the greatest powers are often the ones that are too small to see. Leafcutter ants cultivate underground fungal gardens. One of the most remarkable sights on the forest floor is a long, winding trail of leafcutter ants, each one carrying a freshly cut piece of a leaf like a green sail. But these ants do not eat the leaves. Instead, they carry them deep into their vast underground nests and use them as compost to grow a specific type of fungus. The ants are farmers. They carefully tend to their fungal gardens, feeding them, weeding out other competing molds, and then harvesting the fungus as their sole source of food. This is a perfect symbiotic relationship that has evolved over millions of years. The fungus cannot survive without the ants, and the ants cannot survive without the fungus. Their underground colonies are incredibly complex, with chambers for the queen nurseries for the young and vast caverns dedicated to their fungal agriculture. It is a civilization in miniature, a society built on a partnership between an insect and a mushroom, hidden deep beneath the forest floor. Many rainforest animals are colored to look like the forest floor. In the world of perpetual twilight, that is, the forest floor, camouflage is the key to survival. Many creatures have evolved to mimic the appearance of their surroundings with breathtaking accuracy. The fer-de-lance, a venomous pit viper, has a pattern of brown and gray diamonds on its skin that makes it virtually indistinguishable from the dead leaves it lies upon. Tapirs, large, gentle herbivores, have a two-toned coat that breaks up their outline, making them harder to spot in the shifting shadows. Even the ocelot, a small, beautiful wildcat, has a coat of spots and stripes that allows it to melt into the dappled light. But perhaps the most masterful are the insects. There are moths whose wings look exactly like tree bark, and beetles that resemble pebbles or drops of dew. In this world of low-light life does not shout with bright colors. It whispers with patterns and textures, a silent game of hide-and-seek played for the highest stakes. The forest floor is a nursery for the giants of the future. While the understory is a waiting room for young trees, the forest floor is the nursery where their journey begins. Seeds from the canopy giants fall to the ground, and here, in the dark, damp soil, they begin to germinate. Life as a seedling on the forest floor is precarious. They must survive the deep shade, the threat of being eaten, and the competition from the vast root systems of established trees. Many will not make it, but for those that do it, is the beginning of a long, slow climb. They may spend years, even decades, as small, struggling plants on the forest floor, waiting for that one precious moment when a tree falls and a shaft of light breaks through. The forest floor is therefore a place of immense hope, a ground filled with the silent sleeping potential of the giants of tomorrow. Every great tree that touches the sky began its life as a tiny seed in this dark, quiet earth. Some of the most beautiful flowers in the rainforest bloom near the ground, while orchids and other epiphytes create gardens in the sky. The forest floor has a more subtle, mysterious beauty. Here, in the deep shade, bloom some of the world's most unusual flowers. There are the strange, almost alien-looking flowers of the ginger family, which often grow on short stalks right at ground level. Their colors, a deep, velvety red or a startling white. There are the so-called corpse flowers, which produce a massive bloom that smells of rotting meat to attract the carrion flies that pollinate them. And there are delicate, ghost-like flowers that lack chlorophyll, entirely living as parasites on the fungal networks in the soil. These ground-level blossoms have evolved for a different world, one without bright sun or high winds. They are often pollinated by crawling insects, rodents, or even lizards. They are the secret jewels of the forest, their beauty revealed only to those who walk slowly and look closely at the world beneath their feet. The rainforest floor is surprisingly clear of debris. Despite the constant rain of falling leaves, twigs and branches from the canopy. The forest floor is not a cluttered place. In the warm, humid conditions, the process of decomposition is incredibly fast and efficient. A leaf that falls in a temperate forest might take a year to break down. In a tropical rainforest, it can be gone in a matter of weeks. This rapid turnover is driven by the tireless work of termites, earthworms, fungi, and bacteria. They are the cleanup crew of the forest, ensuring that no resource is wasted. This is why the soil remains so thin. The nutrients are in a constant rapid loop, moving from the living to the dead and back to the living again. The clean, open feeling of the forest floor is a testament to the power of these decomposers, the silent, invisible army that keeps the entire ecosystem breathing. As we rest here on the dark, rich floor of the forest, we are at the heart of the cycle. This is where all things end and where all things begin. But the forest is not just a vertical world of layers. It is also a horizontal world defined by the waters that flow through it. The rivers are the veins of the rainforest, carrying life, nutrients, and secrets through the heart of the green. Let your mind now begin to drift, following the path of a tiny stream as it trickles from the soil, joining with others to form the great, slow-moving rivers of the forest. A journey we will take next. From the dark, quiet floor of the forest, a new sound begins to emerge. It is the gentle whisper of moving water. A tiny spring seeping from the mossy earth, a stream trickling over smooth stones, a current gathering strength as it winds its way through the shadows. The rivers of the rainforest are its lifeblood, its arteries and veins carrying nutrients and shaping the land. These are not just channels of water. They are worlds unto themselves, home to creatures found nowhere else. They are the highways of the forest used by animals for travel and sustenance. And their waters hold mysteries, colors, chemistries, and rhythms that define the very character of the forest they flow through. Imagine yourself now floating on a gentle current, the dense green walls of the forest rising on either side, the sky a narrow ribbon of blue above. Let the soft sound of the water carry your thoughts as we drift into the heart of the rainforest's aquatic realms. The Amazon River is so vast, it contains 1/5 of all the fresh water in the world. The Amazon is not just a river, it is an inland sea. It carries more water to the ocean than the next 7 largest rivers combined. At its widest point, during the rainy season, it can be over 25 miles across, so wide that you cannot see the opposite bank. Its depth is equally staggering, reaching over 300 feet in some places. This immense volume of water creates a powerful current that pushes fresh water more than 100 miles out into the Atlantic Ocean, creating a lens of fresh water on the surface of the salt sea. The river's scale is a reflection of the forest it drains. The endless rain created by the trees gathers in millions of tiny streams, which flow into larger tributaries and finally merge into this one colossal moving body of water. To float on its surface is to be carried by the collective breath of the entire rainforest, a force of nature so great it shapes the ocean itself. Some rainforest rivers run black, stained like tea by fallen leaves. Not all rainforest rivers are muddy brown. In many parts of the Amazon and other tropical forests, the water is the color of dark, clear tea. These are known as blackwater rivers. Their dark color comes not from sediment, but from tannins and other organic compounds that leach out of decaying leaves and plant matter in the surrounding forest. The water is highly acidic and low in nutrients, creating a unique aquatic environment. It is so clear that you can often see deep into its dark depths. These rivers support a specialized community of fish and other creatures adapted to the unusual chemistry. For the people who live along them, these blackwater rivers are a central part of life, providing food, transport, and a sense of place. To see the brilliant green of the forest reflected in the dark mirror-like surface of a blackwater river is one of the most beautiful and haunting sights in the natural world. The Amazon River is home to the pink river dolphin, a creature of myth and magic. In the murky waters of the Amazon and its tributaries lives one of the world's most enchanting creatures, the Boto or pink river dolphin. Unlike their marine cousins, these dolphins are adapted for a life in the complex, winding world of the river. They have long beaks for catching fish, entangled roots, and unfused neck vertebrae that allow them to turn their heads at sharp angles to navigate the flooded forest. Their most striking feature is their color, which can range from a pale gray to a startling vibrant pink, a color that often grows more intense with age or excitement. In local folklore, the Boto is a magical being, a shapeshifter that can take human form and emerge from the river at night. For scientists, it is a remarkable example of evolutionary adaptation. To catch a glimpse of a pink dolphin breaking the surface of the river is to feel for a moment that you have drifted into a world where the line between the natural and the magical has beautifully blurred. During the rainy season, the forest floor itself becomes a vast, interconnected lake. For several months of the year, the rainforest undergoes a dramatic transformation. The rivers swell with the heavy rains and overflow their banks, flooding millions of acres of the surrounding forest. This is not a destructive event, but a natural and essential part of the forest's rhythm. The water can rise by 30 to 40 feet, turning the low-lying forest floor into a vast, shallow lake known as the Igapo, or flooded forest. Trees that were once on dry land now stand in deep water. Animals that lived on the ground must retreat to the trees or learn to swim. And the river's inhabitants, the fish dolphins and manatees, leave the main channels and swim among the tree trunks, feeding on the fruits and seeds that fall into the water. For them, the forest has become a submerged orchard. This seasonal flood connects the river and the forest in the most intimate way. A great slow pulse of water that defines the lives of everything that lives within its reach. Fish in the Amazon have learned to eat fruit that falls from the trees. In the flooded forest, the line between aquatic and terrestrial food webs blurs. Many species of fish have adapted to take advantage of the seasonal bounty that falls from the canopy. The tambaqui, a large, powerful fish, has developed strong molar-like teeth that are perfect for crushing the hard shells of nuts and seeds that drop into the water. During the flood season, these fish become a crucial part of the forest's reproductive cycle. They eat the fruit, swim to another part of the forest, and then excrete the seeds, effectively planting new trees. They are the farmers of the flooded forest gardeners with fins. This remarkable relationship shows the deep coevolution between the river and the trees. The forest feeds the river, and the river in turn helps to grow the forest. The electric eel, a resident of the Amazon, can generate a shock strong enough to stun a horse. Deep in the slow-moving muddy waters of the Amazon lives a creature that has mastered one of nature's most formidable powers, electricity. The electric eel, which is actually a type of knife fish, not a true eel, can generate powerful electric shocks of up to 860 volts. It does this using 3 specialized organs that fill most of its body, composed of thousands of modified muscle cells called electrocytes. The eel uses low-voltage pulses for navigation and to sense its surroundings in the murky water, a process like an electrical sonar. But when it detects prey or a threat, it can unleash a high-voltage discharge that stuns its victim instantly. This incredible adaptation makes the electric eel one of the most formidable predators in the river. It is a silent hunter that commands an invisible force, a living battery gliding through the dark water. Some rainforest streams are so clear you can see the bottom dozens of feet below, while many rainforest rivers are clouded with sediment or stained with tannins. Others are almost unbelievably clear. In certain regions, particularly where the geology is made of ancient hard rock, the rivers run with water that is as transparent as glass. These clear water rivers are a breathtaking sight. You can float on the surface and see the sandy bottom, the fallen leaves, and the fish swimming far below, as if you were looking through a window. The water is often low in nutrients, which limits the growth of algae and keeps it pristine. These clear streams are a vital source of drinking water for forest communities and provide a unique habitat for aquatic life that thrives in the bright sunlit conditions. To dip your hand into such a stream is to feel the pure, cool heart of the forest, a water that has been filtered by 1,000,000 leaves and roots on its long journey to the river. The anaconda, the world's heaviest snake, lives in the slow-moving waters of the rainforest. In the swamps, marshes, and slow-moving rivers of the Amazon and Orinoco basins lives the undisputed king of snakes, the green anaconda. It is not the longest snake in the world, but it is by far the heaviest, with some large females weighing over 500 pounds. The anaconda is a creature of the water, a semi-aquatic giant that spends most of its life lurking just below the surface, its eyes and nostrils peeking out like a crocodile. It is an ambush predator, relying on stealth and immense constricting power to overcome its prey, which can include capybaras, deer, and even caimans. Its sheer size and power have made it a figure of awe and fear in folklore for centuries. It is a true river monster, a silent, patient hunter that embodies the raw, untamed power of the rainforest's darkest waters. The rivers are the veins of the forest carrying life, but the air is the forest's voice. It is a voice made of 1,000,000 tiny sounds, a symphony that plays day and night. As we drift away from the water's edge, let your awareness turn to the sounds of the green world around you. The buzz, the chirp, the call, and the rustle. Let these sounds be your guide as we float into the next part of our journey, the symphony of the rainforest. As we leave the gentle current of the river, the forest seems to grow both quieter and louder at the same time. The sound of water fades, replaced by something more intricate, more complex. This is the biophony of the rainforest, the symphony of life itself. Every creature, from the smallest insect to the largest monkey, contributes its voice to this constant, ever-changing chorus. This soundscape of the rainforest is not noise. It is information. It is communication. It is a language of survival, of courtship, and of territory, spoken in 1,000 different dialects, of clicks, calls, hums, and whistles. Scientists are learning that the health of a forest can be measured by its sound. A rich, layered soundscape means a vibrant, diverse ecosystem. A silent forest is a dying one, so let your mind rest now, not in silence but in sound. Imagine yourself sitting at the base of a great tree, closing your eyes and just listening to the deep, resonant voice of the world's most alive places. The combined chorus of insects at night can be as loud as a rock concert. As dusk falls, the rainforest undergoes a sonic transformation. The daytime sounds of birds and monkeys fade and a new orchestra tunes up. This is the sound of the insects. Cicadas begin their high-pitched electric hum, a sound so powerful it seems to make the very air vibrate. Katydids and crickets add their rhythmic chirps, creating a pulsing, hypnotic beat. In some parts of the rainforest, the collective volume of these insect choruses can reach over 100 decibels, as loud as a chainsaw or a front row seat at a rock concert. This overwhelming wall of sound is not chaos. It is a carefully partitioned broadcast. Each species calls at a specific frequency, a unique sonic channel, to avoid being drowned out by its neighbors. It is a strategy to find a mate in a very crowded, very noisy world. To be in the forest at night is to be enveloped by this sound, to feel it in your bones, a powerful primal vibration that is the very essence of life at its most fervent. Howler monkeys are the loudest land animals, and their calls can travel for 3 miles. At dawn and dusk, a deep guttural roar echoes through the canopy, a sound that seems to come from some great prehistoric beast. This is the call of the howler monkey. Despite their relatively small size, these monkeys have a specially adapted, oversized hyoid bone in their throat that acts as a resonating chamber, amplifying their calls to an incredible volume. They are the loudest land animals on Earth. A group of howler monkeys calling in unison can be heard from up to 3 miles away through the dense forest. They don't howl out of aggression, but to communicate. Their calls are a way of marking their territory, of telling other monkey groups, "This is our space, stay away." It is a form of long-distance negotiation, a way of maintaining peace without physical conflict. To hear their call is to hear the voice of the ancient forest, a deep, resonant sound that speaks of boundaries, family, and the wild, untamed spirit of the canopy. Some birds in the rainforest have learned to mimic the sounds around them. The soundscape of the rainforest is so complex that some of its inhabitants have become master mimics. The lyrebird of the Australian rainforest is a famous example capable of imitating the calls of dozens of other bird species with astonishing accuracy. But its repertoire doesn't stop there. It can also perfectly replicate the sound of a camera shutter, a car alarm, or a chainsaw. In the Amazon, the Lawrence's thrush is known as the mockingbird of the jungle for its ability to weave the calls of other birds into its own complex song. This mimicry can be used for many reasons to trick other birds to attract a mate by demonstrating vocal skill, or perhaps simply for the joy of it. These birds are the composers and DJs of the forest, sampling the sounds around them and remixing them into their own unique creations. They are a reminder that the forest is not just a place of sound, but a place of listening, learning, and imitation. Glass frogs, with their transparent skin, use high-frequency calls that humans can barely hear. In the streamside vegetation of Central and South American rainforests lives a creature of almost magical delicacy, the glass frog. Its underside is so transparent that you can see its tiny heart beating its lungs, breathing, and its digestive system at work. But these frogs are not just visually remarkable. They are also sonic specialists. To communicate over the constant low-frequency roar of a waterfall or rushing stream, glass frogs have evolved calls that are incredibly high-pitched, often at the upper limit of human hearing. These thin, sharp calls cut through the background noise, allowing them to find mates and defend their territories. It is a perfect example of how life adapts to its sonic environment. In a world of deep rumbles and roars, the glass frog found its voice not by shouting louder, but by pitching higher, a tiny clear note in the forest's grand orchestra. The sound of rain in a rainforest is not a single sound, but 1,000 different ones. When a storm rolls over the rainforest, it brings with it a sound of incredible richness and complexity. The rain is not just a steady drumming. It is a layered composition. There is the soft patter of drops on the broad leaves of the understory. There is the sharp percussive tap on the tight skin of a palm frond. There is the gentle hiss as the mist drifts through the mossy branches. And then there is the sound of the water that makes it all the way through, dripping from the canopy high above and landing with a hollow plink on a fallen leaf on the forest floor. A sound like a clock, marking the forest's slow, patient time. Each surface, each leaf, each branch plays a different note. To listen to the rain in a rainforest is to listen to an orchestra with 1,000,000 players, a sound that is at once chaotic and perfectly harmonious, a music that both cleanses and nourishes the world. Many nocturnal animals use sound to see in the dark. When night falls and the visual world disappears, the rainforest becomes a world of sound. Many nocturnal creatures have evolved to navigate this darkness using echolocation. Bats are the most famous, emitting high-frequency clicks and listening to the echoes that bounce back to build a detailed sonic map of their surroundings. They can see a moth's fluttering wings or the delicate web of a spider in complete darkness, but they are not alone. Oilbirds, which nest in dark caves, also use a form of echolocation, as do some species of shrew. These animals have turned sound into a form of sight. They have learned to read the shape of the world through its echoes. For them, the night is not empty or dark. It is a landscape of reflections, a world painted in sound. Even the falling of a single giant tree sends a sound that shapes the forest for generations. For years, a great tree may stand in silence, a pillar of the forest. And then, one day weakened by age or a storm, it begins to fall. The sound is immense, a tearing, groaning crack of wood, followed by a deafening crash as it hits the ground, sending a shockwave through the earth. But this sound is more than an ending. It is a signal of change. The fall of a giant creates a light gap, a sudden clearing in the canopy where sunlight for the first time in centuries can reach the forest floor. This single event triggers a frenzy of new life. The seeds and saplings that have been waiting patiently in the darkness suddenly begin to race for the sky. The sound of the fall is the starting gun for a new generation. It is a sound of destruction, that is also a sound of creation, a moment of violence that gives birth to a century of new growth. The forest symphony is a rich tapestry, but it is woven on a hidden loom. The sounds we hear are the result of countless interactions happening beneath the surface in the soil between the roots. This is the realm of the fungi, the silent architects and secret communicators of the forest. Let the chorus of the rainforest now begin to fade into a gentle hum, and let your awareness drift downward beneath the soil into the dark, quiet world of the Wood Wide Web. Beneath the symphony of sound, beneath the layers of green, lies a world that is almost entirely silent, and yet it is the most communicative part of the forest. This is the kingdom of fungi. We often think of mushrooms as the whole story, the little umbrellas and strange-shaped fruits that pop up after a rain. But these are just the flowers of a much larger hidden organism. The true body of the fungus is the mycelium, a vast, sprawling network of impossibly fine threads that weaves through the soil, wraps around roots, and digests the fallen. This network is the forest's nervous system, its digestive tract, and its circulatory system, all rolled into one. It is an internet made of life, a web that connects the entire forest into a single intelligent organism. Imagine now that the ground beneath you is not solid earth, but a living, breathing network. Let your thoughts sink into this dark, quiet space and explore the secrets of the silent architects. The largest living organism on Earth is a fungus in an Oregon forest. In the Blue Mountains of Oregon, there is a forest that appears ordinary, with pine trees and firs dotting the landscape. But beneath the soil lies a single continuous organism of a fungus known as Armillaria ostoyi, or the honey fungus. It covers an area of nearly 4 square miles. To put that in perspective, it is the size of a small town. It is estimated to be thousands of years old, having silently spread its mycelial threads through the earth, long before any of the trees now standing were even seeds. It is larger than any blue whale, more massive than any giant sequoia. Its discovery was a profound reminder that the most significant life on Earth is not always the most visible. This one quiet hidden network is a true giant, a creature of unimaginable scale and age, a living testament to the patient, persistent power of the fungal kingdom. Trees in a forest use this fungal network to talk to each other. The mycelial web that connects the roots of different trees is not just a physical connection, it is a communication channel. Scientists have named it the Wood Wide Web. Through this network, trees can share resources and send messages. A large, healthy tree with access to sunlight can send sugars and nutrients through the fungal threads to a smaller, shaded sapling that is struggling to survive. It is the forest's way of nurturing its young. But the communication goes deeper. If a tree is attacked by insects, it can send out chemical distress signals through the network, warning its neighbors. The other trees, upon receiving this message, can then ramp up their own defensive compounds to prepare for the attack. It is a form of collective intelligence, a quiet chemical conversation that allows the forest to respond to threats as a unified whole. Fungi are the only organisms that can digest wood completely. When a great tree falls in the forest, it seems like an impenetrable fortress, of wood. But for fungi, it is a feast. Fungi are one of the very few groups of organisms on Earth that can produce the enzymes necessary to break down lignin, the incredibly tough and complex polymer that gives wood its strength and rigidity. Without fungi, the world would be buried under a mountain of dead trees. Instead, they work slowly and patiently, their mycelial threads penetrating the wood, secreting enzymes and dissolving it from the inside out. This process unlocks the carbon and other nutrients that were stored in the tree for centuries and returns them to the soil where they can be used to fuel new life. Fungi are the great recyclers, the masters of decomposition, the silent force that ensures that in the forest nothing is ever truly wasted. Some fungi are hunters, creating microscopic traps to catch worms. Not all fungi are content to simply digest the dead. Some are active predators. In the soil, there are species of fungi that have evolved to hunt tiny microscopic worms called nematodes. They do this by creating ingenious traps. Some species produce sticky nets that entangle any nematode that wriggles by. Others create constricting rings, tiny lassos made of fungal cells. When a nematode passes through the ring, the cells instantly inflate with water, trapping the worm in an unbreakable grip. The fungus then penetrates the worm's body and digests it. It is a microscopic drama of hunter and prey playing out 1,000,000 times over in every handful of forest soil. It is a reminder that the fungal kingdom is not just a world of passive decomposers, but a place of active cunning survival. Mushrooms are just the tip of the iceberg. The mycelium is the true body. The mushrooms we see are beautiful and fascinating, but they are fleeting. They are simply the reproductive structures of the fungus, like an apple on a tree. Their purpose is to produce and release spores, the microscopic seeds that will carry the fungus to new territories. The real enduring organism is the mycelium, the network of threads that lives year-round hidden in the soil or wood. This network can be incredibly long-lived and resilient, surviving fires, droughts, and freezes. It is constantly growing, exploring, and connecting. When we see a mushroom, we are seeing a brief, beautiful expression of a much larger, much older life that is hidden from our view. It is a glimpse of the vast, silent engine that drives the forest. The partnership between fungi and tree roots is the foundation of almost all forests. Over 90% of all plant species on Earth, including almost all trees, form a symbiotic relationship with fungi. This partnership is called mycorrhiza, which literally means fungus root. The fine fungal threads of the mycelium act as an extension of the tree's own root system, reaching far into the soil and absorbing water and essential nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogen far more efficiently than the roots could alone. In return, the tree provides the fungus with sugars, the energy-rich food it produces through photosynthesis. This ancient alliance is the foundation of forest health. It allows trees to thrive in poor soils and helps protect them from disease. It is a perfect partnership, a trade of energy for minerals, a silent agreement made between two different kingdoms of life that has allowed both to flourish for hundreds of millions of years. Some fungi glow in the dark, a phenomenon known as foxfire. If you are walking in a forest on a moonless night, you might see a faint, eerie green or blue glow coming from a piece of decaying wood on the ground. This is foxfire, a form of bioluminescence produced by certain species of fungi as they digest the wood. The light is created by a chemical reaction similar to the one used by fireflies. Scientists believe the glow may serve to attract insects, which then help to disperse the fungus's spores. Or perhaps it is a warning to nocturnal animals that the wood is toxic to eat. For centuries, this strange cold light has been the source of folklore and superstition tales of forest spirits and lost souls. To see it is to witness one of the forest's most magical secrets, a light born not from the sun or the moon, but from the slow, silent process of decay. The forest floor is a world of quiet transformation, of hidden connections and silent conversations. But as we move our awareness from the microscopic threads of the fungi, we begin to notice the small, jeweled life that moves upon this dark stage. The insects, the frogs, the creatures of breathtaking color and strange design. Let the idea of the vast hidden network now soften, and let your mind turn to the small, bright wonders of the forest floor, the jewel box of the rainforest. Our journey now brings us closer to the forest floor, into a world where the scale of life shrinks, but its brilliance and ingenuity explode. This is the jewel box of the rainforest, the realm of insects, amphibians, and other small creatures that paint the shadows with flashes of impossible color. Here, survival is an art form expressed in breathtaking camouflage, dazzling displays, and strange and beautiful adaptations. These are the creatures that are often overlooked, yet they are the cogs and gears that make the entire forest machine run. They are the pollinators, the decomposers, the prey, and the predators. Their numbers are beyond counting, their forms beyond imagining. Let your mind become small now and wander among them. See the world through their eyes, a world where a single leaf is a landscape and a drop of dew is an ocean. The blue morpho butterfly is not blue because of pigment, but because of light. One of the most iconic sights in the rainforest is the flash of an electric iridescent blue as a morpho butterfly flits through the understory. But this stunning color is an illusion. The wings of the morpho contain no blue pigment at all. Instead, their surface is covered in millions of microscopic scales, each one structured with tiny, layered ridges. When light strikes these ridges, it is scattered and reflected in a very specific way. All colors of the spectrum are absorbed or canceled out except for blue, which is reflected back to our eyes. This is called structural coloration. It is color made not from chemicals, but from physics, from the very shape of things. The blue of the morpho is therefore a trick of the light, a shimmering, shifting color that changes with the angle of view, a piece of living magic that is as fleeting as it is beautiful. Glass frogs have transparent skin, allowing you to see their beating hearts. On the leaves, overhanging rainforest streams, lives a creature that seems to be made of spun glass. The glass frog has skin on its belly that is completely transparent. If you were to hold one gently in your hand, you could look up into its body and see its internal organs, its stomach, its intestines, and even its tiny red heart beating rhythmically. This incredible transparency is a form of camouflage. When the frog rests on a green leaf, the light passes through its body, blurring its outline and making it much harder for a predator to spot from below. It is a strategy of vanishing, not by matching a color, but by becoming almost nothing at all. To see a glass frog is to witness a miracle of biology, a living window into the delicate, intricate machinery of life. The poison dart frog wears its lethality as a dazzling warning. In stark contrast to the creatures that hide, the poison dart frog advertises its presence with some of the most vibrant colors in all of nature. They are painted in brilliant shades of yellow, red, blue, and orange, often in stunning patterns. These colors are not for beauty, they are a warning. They tell predators, "I am poisonous, do not eat me." The frog's skin secretes a powerful cocktail of toxins which they derive from the ants and other insects they eat. Some species are so toxic that the poison from a single frog is enough to kill several adult humans. Indigenous peoples have long used these secretions to tip their hunting darts, which is how the frogs got their name. Their beauty is a language of danger, a visual shout in the quiet green of the forest, a perfect example of how life sometimes survives not by hiding, but by being too brilliantly dangerous to touch. Leaf mimic katydids are masters of disguise, even imitating dead and decaying leaves. The art of camouflage reaches its zenith with the leaf mimic katydid. These insects have evolved to look so much like leaves that they are almost impossible to detect. Their wings are shaped and veined like leaves. Their color matches the exact shade of green or brown of their surroundings. But their mimicry goes even further. Some species have evolved to look like dead or decaying leaves, complete with spots of brown mold, ragged edges, and even fake holes that look like they have been chewed by other insects. They will even sway gently in the breeze, just as a real leaf would. This level of detail is a testament to the intense pressure of predation in the rainforest. To survive, it is not enough to look like a leaf. You must become the leaf in all its imperfections and its slow decay. The Hercules beetle is one of the strongest animals on Earth for its size. On the forest floor, a giant moves. The Hercules beetle, with its massive curving horns, is one of the largest insects in the world, sometimes reaching over 6 inches in length. But its size is not its most impressive feature. Its strength is. A Hercules beetle can carry up to 850 times its own body weight. For a human, that would be the equivalent of lifting more than 60 tons. The beetle uses its incredible strength and its giant horns not for hunting, but for battling other males for the right to mate. These epic slow-motion wrestling matches can last for hours. The beetle is a tiny armored giant, a living tank that embodies the power and strange beauty of the insect world. Lanternflies have a bizarre, hollow head that was once thought to glow. One of the strangest looking insects in the rainforest is the lanternfly. It has a long, hollow, peanut-shaped protuberance on its head, which early naturalists mistakenly believed would light up at night, giving the insect its name. We now know that it does not glow, but its true purpose remains a mystery. It may be used to scare off predators, or it may play a role in mating displays. When the lanternfly opens its wings, it reveals a stunning pair of eye spots, large, colorful circles that look like the eyes of a much larger animal. Another clever trick to startle a potential attacker. The lanternfly is a creature of beautiful absurdity, a walking question mark that reminds us how much of the forest's life is still a puzzle. Ants in the rainforest have evolved complex societies with farmers, soldiers, and architects. The ant is not a simple creature. It is a member of a superorganism, a colony that functions like a single intelligent being. Rainforests are home to an incredible diversity of ant societies. There are the leafcutter ants, the master agriculturalists who cultivate fungal gardens. There are army ants, nomadic predators that move across the forest floor in vast living rivers, consuming everything in their path. Their columns are organized with soldier ants guarding the flanks and workers carrying the young. There are weaver ants who build intricate nests out of living leaves, with workers pulling the edges of the leaves together, while others carry larvae from the nest and use the sticky silk they produce to stitch the leaves in place. Each colony is a marvel of social engineering, a city of millions operating with perfect instinctual coordination, all without a central command. The rainforest is a world of small wonders, of hidden jewels and strange artists. But it is also a world of giants, of powerful and elusive spirits that move through the canopy and the shadows. As we zoom our focus out from the tiny world of insects and frogs, our gaze turns to the larger inhabitants of this green kingdom. The monkeys, the jaguars, the tapirs. Let the image of the jewel-like frog now fade, and let your mind prepare to meet the great spirits of the forest. We now move from the intricate world of the small to the realm of the great spirits of the rainforest. These are the larger animals, the creatures of myth and legend whose presence defines the character of the forest. They are often elusive, moving like ghosts through the dense green, their lives unfolding in the high canopy or the deepest shadows. These are the architects and the engineers, the hunters and the gardeners, the animals whose actions ripple through the entire ecosystem. From the silent jaguar to the gentle sloth, from the intelligent monkey to the shy tapir, their stories are woven into the very fabric of the rainforest. Imagine now the rustle of leaves high above, or a shadow moving silently on the forest floor. These are the signs that we are not alone. Let your mind grow still and watchful as we seek a glimpse of these magnificent beings. The jaguar's coat is a map of the forest's light and shadow. The jaguar is the largest and most powerful cat in the Americas, a creature of breathtaking beauty and formidable strength. Its name comes from the indigenous word jaguar, which means he who kills with one leap. But it is its coat that is most mesmerizing. The pattern of black rosettes on a golden background is not just beautiful. It is a perfect adaptation to its environment. In the dappled, shifting light of the forest floor, where patches of sun and shadow create a constantly changing mosaic, the jaguar's coat makes it almost completely invisible. It is a living embodiment of the forest's light. The jaguar is also unique among big cats for its powerful bite, which is strong enough to pierce the skull of its prey or the tough hide of a caiman. It is a solitary and elusive creature, a silent, watchful presence that moves through the understory like a walking shadow. The true king of the Amazonian night. Sloths are so slow that algae grows in their fur. In the high canopy of the rainforest, life moves at a different pace. And no creature embodies this more than the sloth. Sloths are the world's slowest mammals, so sedentary that their movements are often barely perceptible. They spend almost their entire lives hanging upside down from tree branches, sleeping, eating, and even giving birth in this position. Their slowness is a survival strategy. It conserves an incredible amount of energy, which is important given their low-calorie diet of leaves. But their slowness also has a surprising side effect. Their fur is a miniature ecosystem. Tiny grooves in each hair trap rainwater, creating a damp environment where algae can grow. This algae gives the sloth's fur a greenish tint, providing excellent camouflage in the leafy canopy. Moths and beetles also make their home in the sloth's fur. The sloth is not just an animal. It is a walking, slow-moving habitat, a tiny self-contained world. Spider monkeys have a prehensile tail that acts as a fifth limb. High in the canopy, a family of spider monkeys moves through the trees with an acrobat's grace. They are masters of the arboreal world, and their secret is their tail. A spider monkey's tail is prehensile, meaning it can grasp and hold on to branches. It is so strong and flexible that it can support the monkey's entire body weight, acting as a fifth limb. At the tip of the tail is a patch of bare skin, like a fingerprint that provides extra grip. They use their tails to swing from branch to branch, to hang while they feed on fruit, and to keep their balance as they navigate the thinnest of branches. To watch a spider monkey move is to see a creature perfectly in tune with its vertical world, a fluid, effortless dance through the high branches. A life lived in a constant state of suspension between the earth and the sky. The tapir is a living fossil, having changed little in millions of years. On the forest floor, a strange and gentle creature emerges at dusk. The tapir looks like a mixture of animals, the stout body of a pig, the short, flexible snout of an elephant. It is a living fossil belonging to a group of mammals that has been roaming the earth for tens of millions of years, having changed very little in that time. The tapir is a shy, solitary herbivore, using its prehensile snout to grasp leaves, shoots, and fruits. It is also an excellent swimmer and will often retreat to rivers and streams to escape predators or to cool off. The tapir plays a crucial role in the forest as a seed disperser. It eats a wide variety of fruits and then deposits the seeds in its droppings as it travels, helping to regenerate the forest. It is one of the ancient gardeners of the Amazon, a quiet, gentle creature that carries the memory of a prehistoric world in its very form. The giant river otter is the social heart of the rainforest waterways. In the rivers and lakes of the Amazon basin, a playful and highly social predator reigns. The giant river otter is the longest of all otter species, reaching up to 6 feet in length. Unlike other otters, they live in large, boisterous family groups, which they use to hunt cooperatively for fish. Their calls are complex and varied, a language of barks, whistles, and hums that they use to communicate with each other. They are incredibly curious and intelligent creatures, known for their playful antics. A family of giant river otters is a constant hub of activity, a whirlwind of energy in the quiet waters. But their playful nature belies their status as a top predator. They are formidable hunters, and their presence is a sign of a healthy, thriving river ecosystem. Capuchin monkeys are among the most intelligent primates known for their use of tools. The small, clever capuchin monkey is the brain of the rainforest primate world. They have the largest brain-to-body size ratio of any monkey and are known for their remarkable problem-solving skills and their use of tools. Capuchins have been observed using rocks to crack open hard-shelled nuts, a behavior that requires foresight, planning, and learning. They will select the right size and weight of rock for the job and carry it to a suitable anvil stone. They also use leaves to soak up water for drinking and sticks to probe for insects. This intelligence and adaptability have allowed them to thrive in a wide range of forest habitats. They are curious, social, and endlessly inventive, a small primate with a mind that rivals that of the great apes. The harpy eagle is the rainforest's most powerful bird of prey. In the highest reaches of the canopy, a feathered giant hunts. The harpy eagle is one of the largest and most powerful eagles in the world. Its talons are the size of a grizzly bear's claws, and they can exert a crushing force strong enough to break the bones of its prey, which consists mainly of sloths and monkeys. The harpy eagle has a distinctive crest of feathers on its head that it can raise and lower, and its facial feathers form a disc that helps to channel sound to its ears, allowing it to hunt by sound as well as by sight in the dense canopy. It is an apex predator of the sky, a creature of incredible strength and majesty. To see one soaring above the canopy is a rare and unforgettable sight, a glimpse of the wild, untamed power that rules the rainforest from above. These great spirits, the hunters and the hunted, the slow and the swift, are the heart of the forest. But the forest holds more than just animal life. It holds a power that has sustained human life for millennia, a power hidden in its leaves, its bark, and its roots. This is the living pharmacy of the rainforest. Let the image of the soaring eagle now fade, and let your mind turn to the quiet healing magic of the plants themselves. We now turn our attention from the creatures that move through the forest to the silent-rooted beings that give the forest its very form and substance, the plants. But these are not just passive scenery. They are master chemists, alchemists, that turn sunlight, water, and soil into an incredible array of complex molecules. For millennia, the people of the rainforest have known that these plants hold the power to heal. They are a living pharmacy, a botanical library filled with remedies for every ailment imaginable. Modern science is only now beginning to read this library, discovering compounds that have revolutionized medicine. Imagine yourself walking softly through the understory, touching a leaf, smelling the bark of a tree. Each one holds a secret, a chemical story waiting to be understood. Let your mind become quiet and receptive as we explore the healing power of the rainforest. 1 in 4 of all modern medicines comes from rainforest plants. It is a statistic that is both astonishing and humbling. A full quarter of the medicines you might find in a pharmacy or a hospital, from powerful cancer treatments to common pain relievers, owe their existence to a plant that first grew in a tropical rainforest. This is not ancient history. It is ongoing. Scientists continue to find new compounds with medical potential in the leaves, bark, and roots of rainforest flora. These plants have spent millions of years evolving complex chemicals to defend themselves from insects and disease. In a sense, they are locked in a constant slow-motion chemical war. And it is the weapons from this war, the toxins, the repellents, the antifungals that have proven to be so valuable to human health. Quinine, The first effective treatment for malaria comes from the bark of a rainforest tree. For centuries, malaria was one of the most feared diseases on Earth, and its cure came from the rainforest of South America. The indigenous Quechua people of Peru had long known that the bark of the cinchona tree could be used to treat fevers. In the 17th century, Jesuit missionaries learned of this remedy and brought it back to Europe. The active ingredient quinine was isolated, and it became the world's primary defense against malaria for over 300 years, saving countless lives and allowing for the exploration and settlement of tropical regions around the globe. The story of quinine is a powerful reminder of how the traditional knowledge of indigenous peoples and the chemical secrets of the forest have shaped the course of human history. The rosy periwinkle, a small rainforest flower, provided a breakthrough in cancer treatment. In the 1950s, scientists began studying a delicate, unassuming flower from the rainforests of Madagascar, the rosy periwinkle. They were investigating its traditional use as a treatment for diabetes. They did not find a cure for diabetes, but they discovered something far more significant. The plant contained two powerful alkaloids that were found to be incredibly effective at stopping the growth of cancer cells. These compounds, now known as vincristine and vinblastine, led to the development of some of the first successful chemotherapy drugs. They dramatically increased the survival rates for childhood leukemia and Hodgkin's lymphoma. From this one small, beautiful flower came a revolution in medicine, a gift of hope from a forest half a world away. Curare poison used on hunting darts became a life-saving muscle relaxant in surgery. For centuries, indigenous hunters in the Amazon have used a potent poison called curare on the tips of their blowgun darts. It is made from the bark and stems of various rainforest vines. The poison works by blocking nerve impulses, causing paralysis, and allowing the hunters to bring down prey safely from the canopy. In the 20th century, Western scientists studied the chemical structure of curare and realized its potential. They isolated the active compound tubocurarine and developed it into a powerful muscle relaxant. This drug transformed modern surgery. By allowing a patient's muscles to be completely relaxed, it made complex and delicate operations, particularly on the chest and abdomen, much safer and easier to perform. A poison from the deep forest once used for hunting became an essential tool for healing, a perfect example of how the same molecule can be either a weapon or a medicine, depending on how it is understood and used. Indigenous shamans hold a library of medicinal knowledge that is disappearing. The true key to the rainforest pharmacy is not held in a laboratory, but in the minds of the indigenous shamans and healers who have lived in the forest for generations. Their knowledge is a vast unwritten encyclopedia passed down through oral tradition. They know which leaf to use for a fever, which bark to chew for a snake bite, and which root to grind for a skin infection. This knowledge is not just about identifying plants. It is about understanding how to prepare them, when to harvest them, and how to combine them. It is a science of its own, honed over centuries of trial and error. But as these cultures face threats from the outside world, this ancient library is at risk of being lost forever. With every elder who passes away, a volume of irreplaceable knowledge disappears. Scientists believe we have only tested 1% of rainforest plants for their medicinal value. The rainforest is a treasure chest, and we have barely lifted the lid. despite the life-saving drugs we have already discovered. Scientists estimate that we have conducted a thorough chemical screening on only about 1% of the flowering plants in the tropical rainforests. The other 99% remain a mystery. Hidden within their tissues could be compounds that could treat viral diseases, reverse the effects of Alzheimer's, or provide new, non-addictive forms of pain relief. It is a race against time. As deforestation continues, we are losing species every day. Plants that may hold the cure for a future plague vanishing before we even have a name for them. The forest is not just a collection of trees. It is a repository of future solutions, a chemical blueprint for healing that we are only just beginning to read. Even the fungi of the rainforest hold immense medicinal potential. The plant kingdom is not the only source of healing in the forest. The fungi are also master chemists. We already know that the antibiotic penicillin came from a common mold, and in the rainforest, the diversity of fungi is even greater. Scientists are finding that many rainforest mushrooms and molds produce powerful antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal compounds. They are also discovering substances that can boost the immune system or inhibit the growth of tumors. Just like the plants, the fungi are in a constant chemical battle for survival, and their weapons are proving to be our medicines. The dark, damp world of the forest floor, so often overlooked, may be one of the most promising frontiers for the discovery of new drugs. The healing power of the forest is not just in its chemistry, but in its very presence. The air, the sounds, the light. But as the sun sets, the forest transforms. A new world awakens, one that moves in darkness and speaks in whispers. Let the image of the healing leaf now dissolve, and let your mind prepare for the coming of night in the rainforest, a time of strange beauty and hidden life. As the last rays of sunlight fade from the emergent layer, a profound change comes over the rainforest. The heat of the day softens. The colors of the canopy dissolve into 1,000 shades of gray and black. The daytime symphony of birds and buzzing insects quiets, and for a brief moment, a deep hush falls over the forest. But this is not a silence of sleep. It is the quiet intake of breath before a new world awakens. This is the beginning of the nocturnal rainforest, a realm guided not by sight, but by sound scent, and senses we can barely imagine. Creatures that have spent the day hidden in burrows or sleeping in hollow trees now begin to stir. The air once filled with the calls of toucans now fills with the chirps of frogs and the clicks of bats. It is a world transformed, a shadow version of the forest, and in many ways, it is even more alive. Imagine yourself standing in this deepening darkness, the air cool on your skin, your eyes slowly adjusting. The forest has not gone to sleep. It has simply changed its tune. More than half of all rainforest species are nocturnal. The rainforest is a place of intense competition for resources, and one of the most effective ways to avoid competition is to operate on a different schedule. As a result, a staggering number of rainforest animals are nocturnal, waiting for the cover of darkness to hunt, feed, and mate. While the monkeys and brightly colored birds of the day are asleep, a new cast of characters emerges. Ocelots and other small cats prowl the forest floor. Kinkajous and night monkeys move through the canopy, and a universe of insects from giant moths to glowing beetles takes to the air. The night is not an empty, dangerous time. It is simply another shift. For these creatures, the darkness is not something to be feared. It is their shelter, their camouflage, and their home. The rainforest then has two entirely different communities of life, one of the sun and one of the moon, sharing the same space but at different times. The air at night is filled with the scent of night-blooming flowers. While many flowers open during the day to attract bees and butterflies, a whole other group waits for the moon. These are the night-blooming flowers, and they often have large, pale white petals that are more visible in the dim light. But their primary strategy for attracting pollinators is not sight but scent. As darkness falls, they release powerful, sweet, and often intoxicating fragrances into the still night air. These perfumes are designed to lure the nocturnal pollinators of the rainforest moths and bats. A single night-blooming orchid can fill the surrounding forest with a scent so strong it can be detected from hundreds of feet away. To walk in the forest at night is to be guided by these invisible rivers of fragrance, a map of blossoms written in scent, a quiet, beautiful conversation between the flowers and their flying partners. Bats are the master pollinators and seed dispersers of the nocturnal forest. While bees get much of the credit, bats are the unsung heroes of rainforest regeneration. As they fly from flower to flower at night, feeding on nectar, they carry pollen with them, fertilizing the plants. Many plant species, including some types of bananas and mangoes, are completely dependent on bats for pollination. But their work doesn't stop there. Fruit-eating bats are also some of the most effective seed dispersers in the forest. They eat fruits and then fly far away before depositing the seeds in their droppings, often in open, cleared areas where new trees can take root. A single bat can disperse thousands of seeds in a single night. They are the night shift gardeners, the silent planters working under the cover of darkness to ensure that the forest is constantly renewing itself. The darkness of the forest floor is illuminated by the glow of bioluminescent fungi. On a moonless night, the forest floor can be one of the darkest places on Earth. And yet, it is here that the forest creates its own light. Certain species of fungi, as they decompose, dead wood and leaves emit a soft ethereal green or blue glow. This phenomenon, known as foxfire, can be surprisingly bright. A piece of glowing wood can be bright enough to read by. The forest floor becomes a starscape with constellations of faint lights scattered across the darkness. Scientists believe the glow may attract insects that help disperse the fungus's spores. For the creature of the night, these glowing patches may serve as faint landmarks in the otherwise featureless dark. To see foxfire is to witness one of the forest's most magical secrets. A cold, silent light born from decay. A reminder that even in death, there is a strange and beautiful luminescence. Many nocturnal creatures have eyes that are like living night vision goggles. To navigate and hunt in the deep darkness, nocturnal animals have evolved eyes with incredible adaptations. Many, like the owl monkey or the tarsier, have enormous eyes relative to their body size, allowing them to gather as much faint light as possible. Behind the retina, many of these animals also have a special reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum. This layer acts like a mirror, bouncing any light that passes through the retina back through it a second time, effectively doubling the light available to the photoreceptor cells. This is what causes the eye shine you see when a light catches a cat's or a deer's eyes in the dark. For these creatures, the world at night is not a blurry, colorless place. It is a world of sharp silhouettes and subtle movements, a landscape painted in shades of gray and silver, fully visible and full of life. The rainforest at night is a world of sound, and every sound tells a story. With sight being of little use, sound becomes the dominant sense for many creatures of the night. The air is a rich tapestry of acoustic information. The high-pitched clicks of a bat are a map of the world, revealing the location of a moth or the outline of a tree. The deep, resonant croak of a tree frog is a territorial claim and a mating call. The rustle of leaves on the ground could be a foraging armadillo or a stalking ocelot. Every snap of a twig, every flutter of wings, every distant call is a piece of information. For the animals that live here, listening is not a passive activity. It is an active, constant process of interpreting the world. The night is a conversation, a broadcast of a million tiny stories, and to survive, you must be a very good listener. The transformation is complete. The sunlit world of bright colors and soaring birds has vanished, replaced by a world of shadow, scent, and sound. But the life of the forest is not just a collection of individuals living side by side. It is a web of intricate and often strange connections. These are the partnerships, the collaborations, and the deceptions that bind the forest together. As the first hints of dawn begin to touch the sky, let your mind turn to these delicate, hidden relationships, the secret handshakes and silent agreements that make the rainforest not just a place, but a community. The rainforest is more than a collection of species. It is a web of relationships. Every living thing, from the tallest tree to the smallest microbe, is connected to others in a delicate and intricate dance of survival. These relationships can be cooperative, competitive, or wonderfully strange. This is the world of symbiosis, where lives are so intertwined that it can be hard to tell where one organism ends and another begins. These partnerships are the invisible threads that hold the ecosystem together. They are the secret engines of the forest's resilience and its incredible diversity. To understand the rainforest, we must understand these connections. Imagine now the quiet, unseen interactions happening all around you. A flower and its pollinator, a fungus and a root, an ant and a tree. Each one is a story of co-evolution, a pact made between two forms of life over millions of years. The sloth, the moth, and the algae, a three-way partnership. The sloth, as we know, is a slow-moving creature whose fur is a home for algae. But the story is even more complex. A specific species of moth, the sloth moth, lives its entire adult life in the sloth's fur. When the sloth descends to the forest floor once a week to defecate, the female moths fly down and lay their eggs in the droppings. The larvae hatch and feed, and when they become adult moths, they fly up into the canopy to find a sloth and begin the cycle again. But why scientists have discovered that the moths upon their death decompose in the sloth's fur, providing the nitrogen and other nutrients that the algae need to grow. The algae, in turn, provides camouflage and may even be a source of supplemental nutrients for the sloth. It is a perfect, self-sustaining loop. The sloth provides a home and transport, the moth provides fertilizer, and the algae provides camouflage and food. It is a tiny, slow-moving ecosystem, a perfect example of the strange and beautiful partnerships that the rainforest fosters. The relationship between the fig tree and the fig wasp is one of nature's most intricate bargains. Every species of fig tree has its own unique species of tiny wasp that is its sole pollinator. The fig fruit is actually not a fruit at all, but a hollow, inward-facing flower. A female fig wasp, carrying pollen from the tree where she was born, enters a tiny opening in a young fig. Once inside, she pollinates the flowers and lays her eggs. Her wings are torn off in the process, and she dies inside the fig. Her eggs hatch, and the young wasps mate with each other inside the fig. The wingless males then chew a hole out of the fig for the females to escape, and then they too die. The newly emerged females, now carrying pollen, fly off in search of a new fig tree to begin the cycle again. It is a story of incredible sacrifice and perfect codependence. The wasp cannot live without the fig, and the fig cannot live without the wasp. It is an ancient pact, a delicate dance of life and death that has ensured the survival of both for millions of years. Ants and acacia trees have ideal protection for room and board. In the rainforests of Central America, the acacia tree has a standing army. The tree has evolved hollow thorns that provide a perfect sheltered nesting place for a species of aggressive stinging ants. The tree also provides the ants with food-producing protein-rich bodies on the tips of its leaves and nectar from special glands on its stems. In return for this room and board, the ants provide the tree with ferocious protection. They attack any insect that tries to eat the tree's leaves. They swarm and sting any grazing animal that comes too close, and they will even chew away any competing plants or vines that try to grow on or around the tree, effectively acting as the tree's gardeners. The relationship is so tight that neither can thrive without the other. The tree is a living fortress, and the ants are its loyal, ever-vigilant soldiers. The Brazil nut tree depends on a single, powerful bee to be pollinated. The Brazil nut tree is one of the giants of the Amazon, and its nuts are a vital part of the rainforest economy. But this tree has a problem. Its flowers have a complex hood-like structure that is too difficult for most insects to open. Only one creature has the strength and size to do it: a large, powerful species of orchid bee. Only the female orchid bees are strong enough to pry open the flower's hood and access the nectar inside, pollinating the flower in the process. But the story doesn't end there. The male orchid bees, in order to attract the females, need to collect a specific cocktail of fragrances from various species of orchids in the forest. So, for the Brazil nut tree to reproduce, there must be a healthy population of a specific bee. And for that bee to reproduce, there must be a healthy population of specific orchids. It is a fragile chain of dependence, a perfect illustration of how the loss of even one seemingly insignificant species can have cascading effects throughout the entire ecosystem. Hummingbirds and flowers have evolved together in a perfect fit. The relationship between hummingbirds and the flowers they feed on is a classic example of co-evolution. Many rainforest flowers have evolved to be the perfect shape and color to attract hummingbirds. They are often long, tubular, and bright red or orange colors that hummingbirds are particularly drawn to. They produce a large amount of nectar, a high-energy food that fuels the hummingbird's incredibly fast metabolism. In return, the hummingbird, with its long, slender beak and its unique ability to hover, is the perfect pollinator. As it drinks the nectar, its head is dusted with pollen, which it then carries to the next flower. In some cases, the relationship is so specialized that a particular species of hummingbird has a beak that is the exact length and curvature to fit a particular species of flower. It is a partnership of exquisite design, a living lock and key shaped by millions of years of a delicate, beautiful dance. The rainforest is a world of connections, a place where no life is an island. But these relationships are not just happening in the present moment. They are part of a story that stretches back through deep time. The forest is an ancient place, a keeper of memories. As we drift from these living partnerships, let our minds turn to the echoes of the past that are held within the forest, the ancient trees, the lost cities, and the long, slow story of the earth itself. The rainforest is not just a place of incredible biodiversity. It is also a place of deep time. It is one of the oldest ecosystems on Earth, a living relic that has survived ice ages, continental shifts, and the rise and fall of countless species. To walk in an old-growth rainforest is to walk through a living museum, a place where the past is not just buried underfoot, but is standing all around you. The trees themselves are archives, their rings recording centuries of drought and rain. The very DNA of the creatures that live here is a library of evolutionary history, and hidden beneath the canopy, swallowed by the green, are the traces of human civilizations that rose and fell long ago. Imagine now that the air around you is thick, not just with humidity, but with memory. Let your thoughts drift back through the centuries, through the millennia, as we explore the echoes of time that are held within the forest's deep green heart. Some rainforests are living dinosaurs, having existed for over 60 million years. While many of the world's forests have come and go with the changing climates of the ice ages, the tropical rainforests have remained remarkably stable. The rainforests of Southeast Asia, for example, are thought to be the oldest on Earth, having existed in some form for over 100 million years. This means they were already ancient when the dinosaurs went extinct. They have been a continuous, unbroken cradle of evolution for an almost unimaginable length of time. This incredible stability is one of the reasons they are so diverse. Over millions and millions of years, life has had the time to specialize, to adapt, and to evolve into the countless forms we see today. To be in one of these forests is to stand in a world that has outlasted almost everything, a living echo of a time when the world was a very different place. The kapok tree can grow to be so large and old, it is considered sacred. The ceiba, or kapok tree, is one of the true giants of the neotropical rainforest. It can grow to over 200 feet tall, with a massive trunk that is often supported by huge plank-like buttress roots. But it is its spiritual significance that is most profound. For many indigenous cultures, from the Maya to the peoples of the Amazon, the ceiba tree is the tree of life, the sacred center of the universe. They believe its roots stretch down into the underworld, its trunk stands in the world of the living, and its branches reach up into the heavens, connecting all three realms. These great trees are never cut down. They are revered as living deities, places of ceremony and worship. A single ceiba tree can live for centuries, becoming a landmark, a gathering place, and a silent living witness to the history of the people who live in its shade. Hidden beneath the Amazon canopy are the remains of vast ancient cities. For a long time, it was believed that the Amazon was a pristine wilderness, largely untouched by human hands. But recent technology has revealed a very different story. Using LiDAR, a form of aerial laser scanning that can see through the forest canopy, archaeologists have discovered the remains of a vast network of ancient urban centers hidden beneath the trees. These were not small villages, but sprawling cities with pyramids, plazas, raised causeways, and complex systems of canals and agriculture. Some of these settlements may have been home to tens of thousands of people. This evidence is rewriting our understanding of the Amazon's past, showing that large, complex societies thrived there for centuries before the arrival of Europeans. The forest is not a wilderness that has always been empty of people. It is a garden that has been shaped and managed by them, and a tomb that holds the secrets of their lost civilizations. The terra preta, or black earth of the Amazon, is a man-made soil that is thousands of years old. As we know, rainforest soil is typically thin and poor, and yet scattered throughout the Amazon are patches of incredibly dark, rich, and fertile soil known as terra preta. For a long time, its origin was a mystery. We now know that this soil is not natural. It is man-made. It was created by the ancient inhabitants of the Amazon over thousands of years by adding a mixture of charcoal pottery shards and organic waste to the soil. This process transformed the poor acidic earth into a soil so fertile that it remains productive to this day. Terra preta is a remarkable achievement of ancient environmental engineering. It shows that the people of the Amazon were not just hunter-gatherers, but skilled farmers who found a way to create sustainable agriculture in one of the world's most challenging environments. These patches of black earth are their living legacy, a gift of fertility to the future. Some of the most isolated people on Earth still live in the world's rainforests. Deep within the vast green expanses of the Amazon and New Guinea, there are still small isolated groups of indigenous people who have little to no contact with the outside world. These are some of the last uncontacted peoples on Earth. They live, as their ancestors have, for thousands of years in a world without metal, without modern technology, and without the diseases of the outside world. They are hunter-gatherers, living in a profound and intimate relationship with the forest. Their survival is a testament to the incredible resilience of both their cultures and the forests that sustain them. But their existence is incredibly fragile. The outside world, with its loggers, miners, and missionaries, is encroaching on their lands, threatening their way of life and their very existence. They are a living link to our own deep past, a reminder of a different way of being human. The rainforest is a place where time moves differently, where the past is always present. But the rainforest is not an isolated world. It is a vital organ of the planet, a great green heart whose pulse affects every one of us, no matter how far away we live. As our journey through the echoes of time comes to a close, let your mind turn outward to the profound and powerful ways in which these forests shape the world beyond their borders. We have journeyed through the layers of the rainforest, from its sunlit canopy to its shadowed floor. We have met its strange and beautiful inhabitants, and listen to the echoes of deep time held within its trees. Now, for our final exploration, before we drift into rest, we zoom out. We pull our awareness away from the single leaf, the single creature, and see the rainforest as what it truly is, the heart of the planet. The rainforests are not just distant, exotic landscapes. They are fundamental parts of the global system that keeps us all alive. Their health is our health. Their breath is our breath. The processes that unfold within their green borders have consequences that ripple across the entire globe, shaping the climate, the air, and the water that we all depend on. Imagine now, the Earth as seen from space, a beautiful blue marble swirled with clouds. And on that marble, the great green patches of the rainforests pulsing with life, the beating heart of the world. Rainforests are often called the lungs of the planet, and they play a vital role in the global carbon cycle. The image is a powerful one. The forest breathing in carbon dioxide, the primary greenhouse gas, and breathing out the oxygen we need to survive. While the process is more complex, rainforests consume much of the oxygen they produce. Their role in storing carbon is undeniable. The trees and soils of the world's rainforests hold a massive amount of carbon, keeping it locked away and out of the atmosphere. The Amazon alone stores over 100 billion metric tons of carbon, more than a decade's worth of global fossil fuel emissions. When these forests are burned or cut down, that carbon is released, accelerating climate change. In this sense, they are not just lungs, but great living vaults, guardians of the Earth's climate stability. The moisture generated by the Amazon rainforest can end up as rain in the American Midwest. The influence of a rainforest's weather-making ability extends far beyond its borders. The massive river of water vapor that rises from the Amazon canopy does not just rain back down on the forest. A significant portion of it is carried by global wind patterns traveling for thousands of miles. This flying river is a major source of rainfall for other parts of South America, including the agricultural plains of Argentina. But its influence goes even further. Some of this moisture is carried all the way to the northern hemisphere, contributing to rainfall in the Caribbean and even the American Midwest. The connection is a profound one. The corn growing in a field in Iowa may be watered in small part by the breath of a tree 1,000 miles away in the Amazon. It is a tangible physical link that connects the health of the forest to the food on our tables. The dust from the Sahara Desert fertilizes the Amazon rainforest. The web of global connection is woven in strange and unexpected ways. The Amazon rainforest, for all its lushness, is built on surprisingly poor soil. So where do its nutrients come from? A large part of the answer lies across the Atlantic Ocean in the Sahara Desert. Each year, massive dust storms in the Sahara lift millions of tons of sand and dust high into the atmosphere. These dust plumes are carried by the trade winds across the ocean, a journey of thousands of miles. Eventually, this dust falls on the Amazon basin. And this dust is rich in phosphorus, a vital nutrient that is scarce in the Amazonian soil. The desert, a place of barrenness, is feeding the forest, a place of unparalleled life. It is a planetary-scale act of fertilization, a silent, dusty gift that has been sustaining the world's greatest rainforest for millennia. The health of the rainforest is directly linked to the health of the world's oceans. The rainforest and the ocean may seem like separate worlds, but they are deeply connected. The rivers that flow from the forest carry not just water, but also nutrients and sediments into the sea. These nutrients can fuel blooms of phytoplankton, the base of the entire marine food web. The Amazon River, for example, creates a massive nutrient-rich plume in the Atlantic that can be seen from space. But the connection also works through the air. The rainforest helps regulate the climate, which in turn affects ocean temperatures and currents. A healthy forest helps to keep the oceans stable. An unhealthy one can contribute to their warming and acidification. The two great ecosystems of the planet, the green and the blue, are in a constant quiet dialogue, their fates inextricably linked. The loss of rainforests is not just a loss of trees, but a loss of global stability. When we lose the rainforests, we lose more than beautiful landscapes and exotic species. We destabilize the entire planet. Deforestation contributes directly to climate change, both by releasing stored carbon and by crippling the forest's ability to absorb it. It disrupts regional and global weather patterns, leading to more extreme droughts and floods. It leads to the loss of biodiversity on a catastrophic scale, wiping out species that may hold the key to future medicines or a deeper understanding of life itself. And it threatens the lives and cultures of the indigenous peoples who are the forest's oldest and most effective guardians. The fate of the rainforests is not a distant environmental issue. It is a deeply human one, a question about the kind of world we want to live in and leave for future generations. The rainforest is a world of breathtaking complexity, a global heart whose rhythms sustain us all. But it is also, above all, a place of peace, of stillness, of deep green rest. As our journey comes to an end, let the vast global perspective now soften. Let it come back to the simple feeling of being in the forest, the cool air, the soft light, the gentle sounds. Let this be your final resting place for the night. And so, our long journey through the rainforest comes to a gentle close. We have risen to the sunlit heights of the canopy, a city in the sky where life unfolds in a world of leaves and air. We have descended into the soft green twilight of the understory, a hushed world of patience and shadow. We have settled onto the dark, rich earth of the forest floor, the realm of fungi and renewal, where every ending is also a new beginning. We have drifted on the dark, clear waters of its rivers, the life-giving veins of this great green heart. We have listened to its symphony of sound, a chorus of a million tiny voices that is the very pulse of life. We have marveled at the strange and beautiful partnerships that bind the forest together, the delicate dance of symbiosis. We have felt the echoes of deep time in its ancient trees and lost cities. And we have understood from a distance how this one ecosystem helps to balance our entire world. Now, there is nowhere left to go. There is only the feeling of being here. Imagine yourself one last time deep within the forest. The night has fallen completely. The air is cool and soft. Above you, through a small gap in the canopy, you can see a few stars impossibly bright in the black sky. The sounds of the night are all around you. The rhythmic chirping of frogs, the gentle hum of insects. But it is not a distracting sound. It is a soothing sound, a lullaby that has been sung every night for 1,000,000 years. It is the sound of the world breathing. The forest floor is soft beneath you. The great buttress roots of a giant tree form a safe, sheltered space around you. You are held by the forest. You are protected by its immense ancient presence. There is nothing you need to do, nothing you need to solve, nothing you need to remember. All that is left is to rest. Feel your body growing heavier, sinking gently into the soft earth. Feel your mind growing quieter, the thoughts of the day dissolving like mist in the morning sun. Each breath you take is a breath of the forest air, clean and rich and full of life. And each breath you exhale is a letting go of tension, a letting go of worry, a letting go of the need to be awake any longer. The forest is sleeping now in its own way. The great trees are still their leaves turned inward. The daytime creatures are curled in their nests and burrows. Even the river flows more slowly in the cool of the night. The entire world is settling into a state of deep, quiet rest, and you are a part of it. You are not a visitor here. You are home. The same life that pulses in the trees and the river and the stars also pulses in you. The same need for rest, for renewal, for peace. So let yourself drift now. Drift on the gentle current of your own breathing. Let it carry you away from the shore of wakefulness and out into the deep, calm ocean of sleep. If a thought arises, just let it float by like a leaf on the water. It is not important now. All that is important is this feeling of peace, of safety, of being held by a world that is ancient and wise and deeply, deeply alive. The rainforest will be here when you wake. The sun will rise and warm the canopy. The birds will begin to sing. The cycle will continue. But for now, for tonight, all that matters is this quiet darkness, this gentle sound, this profound and perfect stillness. If you happen to still be awake, you can go ahead and watch the next video when you're ready. But for now, there's nothing left to do. No answers to chase, no puzzles to solve, just the calm certainty that you are safe and it is time to sleep. Good night, and may your dreams be filled with the deep green peace of the forest.